The great thing about this is that if you get the right SEC lawyer, they will help you through these things. You just got to be sure you ask questions. Don't be afraid. This isn't an area where you can just, well, I kind of think I know what I'm doing. I heard Teresa talk about it, so I think I know. No, get that SEC lawyer, ask questions, make them. I mean, don't feel stupid. I mean, some of the questions I ask, I'm sure they were rolling their eyes at me, but I wanted to be sure that I understood. And as we move into step five, we want you to prepare to attract capital. Capital raise. Reach out to friends and family if you're doing a 506B. Prepare your marketing if you're a 506C. Now, notice I say reach out to them, but you're not going to run to them with a bunch of numbers that you've done your underwriting with, because the SEC lawyers will slap your hand if they find out that you have shared any information with anyone, 506B or C, if you have not first got the SEC documents in place and gotten all of your ducks in a row. So the best thing to do is when we realized that we had, signed our LOIs, we call friends and family, people we've already talked to, maybe previous investors, people that are in our network of circle, and say, hey, exciting news. We've got this deal in St. Louis. We're going to be moving on it. We're working on all of the legal paperwork, but I want to give you a heads up. Let's set something so that we can talk next week and I'll be able to give you all the details. So as much excitement and generation as you can do to get people moving, then that's what you want to do during this time frame, because it's going to kind of feel like you're hurrying up and waiting, because you're hurrying up to get all this stuff going, but then you're waiting for the lawyers to actually get it done. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing anything. You're, creating that buzz in your network to let people know that, hey, something's coming, get ready. And of course, if you're doing a 506C, which we'll talk in more detail about the 506B and C and the differences, then you want to go ahead and get that marketing prepared. Are you going to do social media? Do you need to get landing pages up on your website? Those are all things that will come into play if you're doing a 506C. And of course, you're going to create that pitch deck. A lot of us have seen pitch decks, done pitch decks. The SEC attorney will have a say on what goes into that pitch deck. If you notice, we have our disclaimer on page 2 of the pitch deck. That is courtesy of the SEC lawyers. We know that it's not super pretty to be right there in front, but we also know it's not super pretty to be standing behind bars. So we definitely put that page up front and let people know that, this is the investment that has risk, as do all investments. And again, the SEC attorney will help you through that information as to what you should have there. They will read everything and sign off on it. So, and again, I'm moving through this really quickly. This is an overview. We're going to talk a little more detail on some of these, but please, if you have questions, just raise your hand. I can't see Jason, so please call on somebody if you need to, or
Yep. So
answer
far,
any questions. Okay,
so
good.
far, so far, no hands
And
up, and
did
we definitely agree. You
go.
definitely, don't look good behind bars. So
Yeah, thanks. Like that. Um, so on number 7, you're going to get all that info uploaded to whatever platform you choose to use. So the cash flow portal, and if you're not familiar with how those platforms work, this is another great reason why you should be an LP before you try to GP, because this allows you to get into one of the platforms like cash flow portal or Investor, so that you can see what it looks like from the other side. We all have those software programs that we use that we know what it looks like on our side, but unfortunately on the user side, it looks a little different. And if you've already gotten in there and done an investment on your own, then that's going to make much more sense when you start loading your own deals information into the platform. And again, I will reiterate, first I thought, maybe I can just track this myself. And once I realized what everything there is to track, that's just not even sensible. It doesn't make any sense. And so this is definitely going to be, an expense that you're going to have to get that set up and going. And then number 8, raise baby raise. Plan weekly meetings, personal invites, call everyone daily. Have daily call goals that you're working with. Create contests and games so that you either push yourself or you push your teammates, whatever the case may be there. So definitely lots in that one slide. There's so much more I can go into, but I wanted to give a quick overview of the timeline because I think a lot of times people don't even understand. I've heard people on calls before say, well, I've got my LOI and we're, going to be doing due diligence next week. And I think maybe I should get an attorney. And I'm like, okay, wait, that attorney should have come, soon as that LOI was signed off on, that is when you want to get that attorney. So definitely, you got to plan ahead.
So, a couple folks would like recommendations for SEC lawyers, so and where we got
Okay.
them. So we can send
Okay.
out Michael's information.
Yeah, we'll send out Michael's. I also have worked with, as I said, Mauricio Rold. He no
Mhm.
longer practices. However, the law group that he formed, he sold to his partner, and that's Premier Law Group, and they're an SEC firm as well. So yes, we can definitely provide that. We'll include that in the follow-up. Thank you, Jason. So this is just a little bit of further detail on the attorneys that you're going to need. That transactional lawyer, which we've already talked about, that will do the purchase and sale agreement for you, and the SEC lawyer. Now, the SEC lawyer, in addition to kind of checking over all of your documents that you're using, like your pitch deck, they're going to create what you probably have signed as an LP investor. Well, you would have definitely signed it if it's a syndication, a private placement memorandum, a subscription agreement, and an operating agreement, often referred to as PPMs, SAs, or OAs and OAs. Our current PPM, SA, OA is combination. It's all in one document. They are separated out, but it's in 112 pages. And we have read through these pages. And if you ever have a investor who asks questions, you're always appreciative when you have read through it so that you act like or sound like you know what you're talking about. I definitely have a few that are avid readers and they have put me on the spot a few times. And I was thankful that I had read through it and could answer their questions with no problem. So these are just the overview of the attorneys that you will need immediately.
So there was one, sorry,
Yep.
Satori, I think you had your hand raised before. Can't, can you guys, I can't really hear you unless somebody else can, maybe me.
I can't.
Can I hear me? Hello, hello.
Oh, we can hear you, but it's very low.
Sounds like your microphone's a long way from your mouth.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, now at first I thought I'd wait till all the slides were done, but so the question I have, you said something, I think it was seven or eight, six maybe. When talking to people and getting them excited and sharing about this, are you, oh yeah, create the pitch deck. So when I'm talking to people that I want to get on board to be able to invest with me, I can't tell them about numbers specifically. Is that what you're saying? But I can share about a specific property, a specific deal.
Right. So until you have your SEC lawyer, all of your PPM documents ready to go, technically you cannot talk to someone. So you would not want to quote any type of numbers. But you can talk to them about the deal. Hey, it's in St. Louis. We're really excited about it. It's in a great area. You can talk general, but you cannot say it's going to be 8% return because all of that has to have the disclaimers attached to it when you start talking about that. So stick to the facts. Don't talk about projections.
Got it. But can I tell them how much we're trying to raise? We're trying to raise $1 million, $5 million.
I wouldn't do anything with numbers until you get that sources and uses, which of course the SEC lawyer is going to want you to have a slide in there that has sources of funds and uses of funds. And again, that's a little bit of a touchy area because that's not fact, right? It's a fact that you're buying this property in St. Louis. I wouldn't even go into how much you're paying or anything like that. I would just make it really talk about location. You could talk about the schools that are in the area. You talk about all the business or, man, I've seen this property. It is fantastic. Anything that's emotional, but stay away from numbers.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Once,
Uh-huh.
so when you are doing when you hiring the attorneys, it doesn't matter if the SEC what state they're in, depending, or it needs to be a state that where you are actually investing in.
That's a great question, Satori. It does not matter because SEC is a federal ruling. So it doesn't matter. And so those SEC lawyers, if they're truly SEC lawyers, they are for over the federal. So any state is fine. I know that Michael lives in Florida, the one that we used recently, and the previous one I used was in California. So it makes no difference. And my property was in Texas and in Missouri. And so it, doesn't matter because it's a federal regulation.